Hello, and welcome to this webinar on access to higher education programmes at Wiltshire College and University Centre. I'm going to run you through the structure of the diploma and hopefully the content of the main courses that we run. We're going to look at the pathways as well that are available to you, because there are various options depending on your academic interests and your career choices for further progression as well at university. I'll have a look at each of the units, a breakdown of each of the subject areas that we cover, and there's finally a little bit of information about additional support that you may need to access whilst you are with us at the college. So first of all, just a few introductions about the department. My name is Paul Turner. I'm the Deputy Head of Department. I work very closely with the teaching team, which consists of Sue Bailey, Amanda Doherty, who, as well as being personal tutors, are lecturers on the team. Jane Evans is a lecturer in Sociology and Psychology based at Salisbury, but teaching at Trowbridge as well. Paul Marshall is a science-based lecturer covering chemistry and biology in Salisbury. John does likewise for the Chippenham, Lackham and Trowbridge campuses, and Tony Pike is a history lecturer based down in Salisbury. So the structure of the Access to HE diploma is one of 60 credits overall. 45 of those credits are what we call graded. Therefore, you would receive a pass, merit or distinction mark for a piece of work. And once those are achieved, they go towards an overall mark for the number of credits achieved at those gradings. So that applies to the 3 academic subjects, which we'll look at as we go through the presentation, that you can choose as part of the pathways that we have on offer. Additionally, every student, regardless of their academic choices, will study a programme of study skills, and that needs to be achieved at units are mainly studied to help you with progression to university, and we'll have a look again at those study skills options as we go through. So it's a good idea as well when you come to us to have an idea of where it is you want to go. So what career do you want to pursue, and which universities do you want to progress to help you on that journey? So it's a good idea to have that information ready when you join us, and when you come for any interviews or you speak to any of the staff about joining the course. It's a good idea to know where it is you want to go. So the 3 diplomas that we have are on the left there in blue. They are health and social care, they are humanities and science pathways. And within those pathways, you can see the green subject areas on the right. As I said, we have study skills, which consists of those UCAS applications, academic writing, preparing for exams, those kinds of skills that you will need throughout your academic career with us and at any future university as well. We'll go through and break down those units into, or subject areas into, the diplomas now. And if you chose the health and social care pathway, then the units you would study are obviously the study skills, and then you've got biology, sociology and psychology as part of that diploma. You've then got the humanities pathway. There's a little bit of choice here. Study skills, obviously, you have to do, but then there's a choice really, depending on which campus you're on a little bit as well, but we are trying to do things across campuses now because of online learning, etc. So you could study psychology, sociology, history or English. So you would choose 3 of those humanities subjects to help you progress on that humanities pathway. You would study 3 out of those 4 plus the study skills. And then into the science diploma, again, you've got your study skills there, obviously, and the psychology, biology and chemistry. So 2 what we would probably call hard sciences, the biology and chemistry, and a bit more of the social science from the psychology. So looking at sociology as a unit, as an academic subject, you can see the 4 units there that we tend to study each year, and each one is worth, the top 3, sorry, are worth 3 credits, and the final one is worth 6 credits, giving you your 15 credit total. So the sociological theories and their application to contemporary society is quite a large unit, and there's a lot of content in there. So that one is worth 6 credits and the other's worth 3. So you can see that we're looking at research methods and how sociology is researched and how you might carry that forward as well into university. That's a very useful unit for understanding the research principles as well in general. Health and illness, so examines the relationship between health, class, gender, ethnicity, poverty, and lifestyle choices. So that's all mixed in with that sociological element. You've got crime and the reasons for crime and looking at inequality in crime. And as I say, that large unit of sociological theories looks at all perspectives of sociology and how it applies to current society and how we perceive the world currently. Psychology, so sort of staying with this health and social care pathway, but also you would look at this from the science perspective as well, as I said. Approaches in psychology, again, looking at key debates, what are the main talking points, a little bit of personality in there, psychodynamic theory and social learning theory and how we develop our personalities, but also the different beliefs from certain theorists within psychology. You've got elements of social psychology, looking at influence and group conflict, different theories surrounding those principles. You've got stress and well-being, understanding causes and effects of stress, as well as understanding how we can cope with it. Quite topical, I would imagine, at the minute as well with COVID and homeschooling and all that kind of stuff. So a good unit that covers kind of topical areas as well. And the psychological perspectives and behaviour, another large unit which attracts 6 credits rather than the 3. And you look at the key characteristics of a range of those different perspectives and analyse how they might explain how we behave, either as individuals, in groups, or as society in general. Bit more moving on to the science diploma, but also obviously is covered within the health and social care unit as well, the pathway as well. We've got 5 units here, all worth 3. We've got things like cell biology, so looking at DNA, again quite topical with the COVID and vaccines. How enzymes help the body to function correctly, and the process of osmosis is in there as well. You have a physiological unit, so looking at the different systems of the body, including the digestive system, the cardiovascular system, and the various energy systems that we have to help us create energy and to move around. We look at inheritance, again, the role of DNA and chromosomes is in there, and how we pass on features from parent to children. You have homeostasis, which looks at obviously maintaining the body at its proper state, so being able to carry out its normal function and making sure that things work as they should do, which includes organs, hormones, and the nervous system. So you look at all those systems as well. And the last one is the human disease and immunity. So again, extremely topical at the minute, looking at how we contract illnesses, how they affect the body, and the role the immune system might have in fighting off those infections as well. So, as I said, extremely topical at the minute, but obviously very useful in other walks of life as well. Moving on to another science unit now. So this really is only now within the science pathway. We're looking at chemistry. So the fundamentals of chemistry, looking at atomic number, the periodic table, looking at how we can work out certain chemical equations and concentrations in some reactions. You might look at core principles of chemistry as well. So again, balancing those equations, looking at how much heat or energy is exchanged in reactions, and looking at acids and alkalis. That is quite a large unit, as you'd expect there from the title. The core principles of chemistry do cover quite a lot of information, so that again attracts 6 credits. Core organic chemistry, so looking at alkanes and alkenes, so the use of sort of fuels. Quite exciting that, because there is a bit of burning stuff in there. It's quite a bit of fire, and it's quite spectacular visually, looking at some of those organic reactions. And then you've also got chemical spectroscopy, so you'll be demonstrating how the chemical structure of compounds can be detected and analysed, and producing graphs, looking at how compounds are made up, using some quite advanced equipment actually, which we've recently purchased. So that's quite exciting for us as a department, but also gives you the opportunity to use up-to-date equipment to analyse different compounds and different materials. Moving away from the sciences now, and definitely more into the humanities. So you've got English literature here, and again you've got a variety of credits available for these units. So drama is a large unit, gets 6 credits, but looking at how we use language to shape meanings in writing, looking at drama texts and how they're written and how they're portrayed to the reader, and how culture and history have impacted on how people have written at those times throughout our history. You will also analyse a novel, at least one novel, and interpret the aspects of that novel, looking at developing your own academic writing skills by reviewing how other people have written, but being able to answer specific questions by using those correct academic terminologies as well. Comparative study of 2 genres. So as it says, you will look at 2 different types of writing, and again you look at the historical and cultural perspective in which they were written and how that comes out in the writing. Obviously you will look at the differences in language, structure and style, and make those comparisons within your assignment. And the poetry is again looking at the way different writers use form, structure and language to give a different meaning potentially for their poetry and the context in which that poem was perhaps written. And I think this is the last one. We're looking at history. Again, we've got 5 units there worth 3 credits. We look at communism, German history, Eastern Europe and the Cold War, very in-depth sort of historical perspective of how that played out. We look at fascism, identifying the key issues in what it actually is, and explain the main characteristics within its historical context. And totalitarian regimes, understanding terms and concepts in the study of totalitarianism, and being able to apply political theory to what's happened within those regimes. Fair to say that some of those units will change as well. Each year we may review what we've done along with the study skills, and again we don't always do the same units. Examination techniques we looked at this year, for example, because of the lack of exams, that's been taken out, but we've kept it in there because we feel that it's still important, given that you will have exams in the future. I'm sure, you know, we haven't seen the end of exams, I'm sure. So we've left that examination techniques unit in there, but we do review our units each year to potentially make some tweaks, and hopefully we sometimes consult with the current students as well, so they get an option to look at other units, as long as they do fit with the schedule of those particular pathways, and that is set down by Ascentis, our awarding organisation. But in the study skills, you will have the opportunity to research your own opportunities in higher education, and your tutors and lecturers will take you through the UCAS application process to help you apply for your place at university. Another big element is academic writing skills, so being able to write at level 4 and level 5, which is what you'll be doing when you go to university. And things around referencing and how to cite properly within your writing, cite another author. As I say, we look at exams and how to prepare for exams, and we have left that in there, and also independent study. So there will be support from the staff within the college to help you with all areas of your study, but an important part going forward will be to develop those independent study skills at university. So this allows you to undertake a small scale project, and it ties in with one of the other units that you might study academically. You can choose to study something in biology or sociology if that's what you want to do, to tie in with this independent study unit to produce that small scale project. So it's developing your all-round study skills whilst also focusing on the academic choices you have made. And we assess all that in a variety of ways. As I said, the study skills is ungraded, but the other units will attract pass, merit or distinction depending on the quality of the work. And we may ask you for essays. In the science, we might ask you for a lab report, for example. You might be asked to do a presentation. There may be an element of practical, again, more commonly in the science units. And there are, under normal circumstances, when we're past COVID, hopefully soon, there will be exams in there as well. And every pathway, as I say, under previous incarnations has meant doing an exam throughout at least one of your academic choices. So there will be at least one exam in there under normal circumstances. As I said, there are personal tutors in there, and their role is to help you initially with your application process for UCAS and your personal statement, which is a big piece of work in itself. They will provide you with support for that, but any other also personal academic issues, anything with the course, any feedback, they would take that on board and feed that back into the department, and we would discuss anything that we may need to change. And also there's a lot of administration that we need to do, obviously in the background, with internal verification, recording grades on the web and all that kind of stuff. So their role is important and extensive, and they are your first main port of call at college as well. In addition to their role, there are also other support services within the college, and these are accessible to all students. So there's careers guidance, which you may access before you even come onto the course, to get an idea of what it is you want to do and where you want to go. There's, under non-COVID circumstances, there's a library for everyone to access, and they have obviously books, but also IT for accessing the internet and doing some research. Anything to do with HE, we have a fabulous HE team who can support your personal statement and submit your application eventually to UCAS, and they are very much linked to our department, but they are again standalone for students that want to access that service. And also as part of the tutor process, there's also counsellors and wellbeing advisors that we can refer you to if you feel that is something you would benefit from. The time commitment is on average 12 or 13 hours a week. That the first term's a little bit longer because we want to get you in the first semester. We want to get those UCAS applications in, so we allow a little bit more time in the initial period up to Christmas and the UCAS deadline. So it'll be a little bit more time than 12 hours. But then that does drop down a little bit once those UCAS applications are in. The evening class in Salisbury can be done, but that needs a lot more independent work because you only get 6 hours of teaching time on that course. But there are homework tasks that will be set as a part of that to help you stay in line with what the full-time cohort will be doing. And you will need to complete work and assignments at home, away from the classroom, or come into college to use the facilities that we have in the library. And that's, again, you're not restricted to your timetable times on college. You can come onto college to do that work if you need to, but that probably would take up an additional 12 hours a week So we normally say for every hour in the classroom, you would need to do an hour at home on research, reading, and then writing up those assignments ready for submission. It's worth saying at this point that it is quite an intense course. As you can imagine, it is equivalent to kind of doing 3 A levels in 1 year, and normally A levels will be done over 2 years. So that time commitment is really important. You need to have that time to be able to complete all the work that needs to be done, and it is quite an intense course. To say it comes out with the equivalent of 3 A levels in just 1 year of study. So it is intense. To help yourself in preparation for all that, it's a good idea, as I said, to research universities and what courses you might like to study once you've got past the Access to HE programme. There are a number of courses within Wiltshire College and University Centre as well, so don't forget to look at those, because you could progress from your Access to HE programme straight onto a university course with us. And again, there's benefits of that because we will already know you. Tutors will have developed a good relationship with you, hopefully, and there's a variety of courses that you can choose from, and stay local. You don't need to then go away to a university. Potentially you could study your university level program with us. That's something where, you know, hopefully some of you will do. Suggest going to open days, having a look, and if you can get onto campus when COVID restrictions allow, go and have a look at the facilities, go and meet the staff, go and meet the current students and speak to them. If you can, the relevant experience in sort of health and social work areas is probably most beneficial, because universities will look for some element of that as well, potentially, and that can add to your experience. If there are any questions, I will put the first slide back up so you can see the email address. So my name is Paul Turner, and the email address structure is paul.turner@wiltshire.ac.uk. Afraid that the email isn't on there, but it's very simple structure, and that applies to all the staff. So it's paul.turner@wiltshire.ac.uk. Sue would be sue.bailey@wiltshire.ac.uk, and a similar structure for the other lecturing staff. Okay, so thank you for your time. If you have any questions, please do send them in to us, and we'll try and get back to you as soon as we can. Thank you very much.